of energy in your space. Okay? And so when they discovered this, it was so mind-boggling for them. It was so hard for them to comprehend. It was so challenging their paradigm that they said, okay, that value, we're going to ignore it. It's like, oh, could save the world, but never mind that. We're going to put that in the back over there. And we're going to say, well, you know, vacuum density. They called it 0-point energy, vacuum density. See how confusing it is? Because it's vacuum density. When people think of the vacuum, they think empty, right? In fact, it's just the contrary of empty, right? It's extremely full. Not a little bit full, but extremely full. And in that space, in that energy function, when it oscillates a little bit the right way, all of a sudden, we call it mass. So imagine this. You're a fish in the ocean, there's water everywhere. Since there's water everywhere, there's no place in your world where there's no water. Right? You think water is nothing. You don't know. It's there. It's nothing. And until the water makes a little vortex that's organized over there, you think there's nothing. But then when it makes a little vortex over there, then you go, oh, there's something there. I can see something. Right? And then you call that an atom, or a subatomic particle, or a galaxy, or a star, or a universe. You guys start seeing what I'm telling you? There's a fundamental field of energy at the source of everything. Now, I could be telling you this in terms of philosophy. And it would be nice, but it would be philosophy. And if I wanted to build something out of it, if I wanted to change the world out of it, if I wanted to make technology that ran on it, I would be shit out of luck. Because it's a nice philosophy, and guess what? We're all not gonna levitate ourselves into the next dimension. We're just not. The evolution of our planet is a co-evolution with our technology. Technology and consciousness go hand in hand. Technology is a representation of the consciousness of a planet. They're not separate. They're all the same thing. They're all the vacuum energy. The whole thing. The vacuum energy organizes complex systems that you call biology, and then that biology, when it reaches levels of complexity high enough, all of a sudden gets enough information through the system and this feedback that they become self-aware. They go, oh, what the hell is this? How did I get here? But like the fish in the ocean, that biology can lose sight that it's in the water. It can lose sight of its origin. It doesn't know that the field is sustaining that. So then it has even deeper question. What the hell is consciousness? If we solve this M on the structure of space-time, if we figure out what mass is, there's a good chance we're going to figure out what C is. And when we figure out what C is, there's a good chance we're going to figure out how the energy runs to produce self-awareness. It's all related. And we did. We solved this. We solved this at the most fundamental level. I solved some of the most fundamental equations 2 days ago, from the universal size all the way to the atomic structure and all of the table of elements exactly with 8 digits accuracy. 8 digits accuracy across universes, superclusters, clusters, galaxies, stars, electrons, protons, Planck size, sub-Planck, the whole thing. And all of the table of elements, like the geometry of the table of elements, which is unknown why the table of elements has a specific pattern. Now, did I solve these equations? I solved them by considering that space-time is information, is granular at the quantum scale. Of course. Just like water in your bath appears to curve when you pull the plug, and your rubber ducky appears to be attracted to the drain, right? And the water appears to curve towards the drain. But you know that when you look at the water really close, it's made of particles. It's made of grains. We call atoms, molecules. So although it looks smooth from a large perspective, it's very granular at the quantum scale. You guys are following me? Okay. I'm telling you this because it's critical you know this, because if you know this, you can engineer the vacuum. You can interact with it consciously in your life every day. The 10 to the 93 grams per centimeter cubed, you can actually connect to it. It's running you already. It's not like you're disconnected from it, but you can become conscious of it. Then when you become conscious of it, you become a more active vacuum energy entity. You are an ethereal being. You know who that quote comes from? You are an ethereal being. Nobel Prize Physics, Nobel Prize winner, Frank Belchek, in this conference called The Materiality of the Vacuum. This is a Nobel Prize in Physics telling you you're an ethereal being. That doesn't happen in physics very often. Just letting you know, those words typically go along with "thank you very much, please don't come back." Right? So these equations say something very important. Woo-hoo. Wow. Hey, lucky you're the one with the umbrella.
Wow. Wow.
So in this state of knowing, when you know this, when you realize this, you realize you're not the organization that you call your body, you're the field that organizes the body. You keep organizing it over and over again every second at an amazing rate, like non-stop, and with like incredible accuracy. Incredible accuracy, like definitely your nose cells don't start making toe cells, and your toe cells don't make nose cells, because it would be uncomfortable really quickly. So you're constantly redoing this, and it's like the whole universe is doing this continuously, because like all the stuff that we see in the universe is constantly in motion. Constantly in motion. When I solve these equations, they're very clear. They're radius to mass ratio. It's information going across a boundary. So I'm gonna give you the solution, right? So of course, I published this in 2012. December 21st, 2012. I didn't do it on purpose. But for the proton. And I made a prediction of the radius of the proton. This equation, it's called a holographic mass solution, right? I calculated how much information is inside the volume of a proton in terms of this Planck field, in terms of these grains. And then I calculated how much is on the surface. And I thought, there's a restriction because it's more on the inside than on the surface. But when I looked at the ratio. When I looked at the ratio between the inside and the surface to try to figure out what is the baud rate, how much information can transfer across the boundary, across the horizon of the system, which is an idea I had when I was 11 and I learned to meditate. Because when I learned to meditate, I realized that there's an inside of me and an outside of me. And when I discovered the inside of me, I thought, wow, maybe my reality is a relationship between my inside and my outside. It was like kind of obvious, but it took me the rest of my life to figure out the equation, which is a simple equation, eventually, relatively speaking. When I taught those equations to my kids, they looked at me as like, it took you 30 years to figure this out? I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of slow. And so, but when I made that calculation, something fundamental, something incredible came out. When I made that calculation, when I calculated how much information was inside the volume of the proton, I got the exact mass of the universe. But not approximately the right mass for the universe. What's called the critical mass, exact mass for the universe. Okay? In each proton that makes you, I got all the information of all the other protons in the universe. The whole thing in one proton. Just happens that there's like, I don't know how many masters that have walked on this earth trying to tell people it's all inside, the universe is in one drop of water, like the whole thing, it's like, dude, they weren't fucking kidding.